let us all do we can to build a better future.
Daniel, you got a story for the people. What is going on?
Okay, so we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but it's a wonderful thing and to talk about, because this is sort of a new ground that we're trying to work with in this world, which is, well, let's get into it. But this has to do with the continuation of Australia versus Facebook, round 2. Yeah, okay. So the Australian government has slammed Facebook's decision to block users in the country from all news content on its platform, a move that ended up affecting access to several government sites. Australia's Prime Minister, or I think there's some people call him the CEO of Australia, Scott Morrison, called Facebook's move arrogant and disappointing, while Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said it was, quote, wrong and unnecessary. The social media company on Wednesday announced its decision to ban Australian users from viewing and sharing news content. It came ahead of an expected decision by the Australian Parliament to pass a new media bill that would only require online platforms like Google and Facebook to pay news outlets for displaying and linking their content. Quote, Facebook was wrong. Facebook's actions were unnecessary. They were heavy-handed, and they will damage its reputation here in Australia. Frydenberg said at a media briefing this Thursday, Facebook's actions are unfriendly to Australia today. Cutting off essential information services and health and emergency services were as arrogant as they were, disappointing. In addition to pages run by news outlets, several government-backed Australian accounts were also wiped clean by Facebook on Thursday morning. The government of pages affected include those providing updates on COVID panic and brushfire threats. Facebook's decision was in contrast to that of Google, who I actually thought would act in the same way as Facebook, but no, they actually made a deal. The latter on Wednesday said it agreed on a revenue-sharing deal with Australian media conglomerate News Corp. Now, sort of my issue with this entire thing historically has been that the law was basically written by News Corp and then given to the government. Like, we talk about how 6 companies own 92% of media in America. I think in Australia, 80% are owned by News Corp. So it's a little more of a monopoly there, a little more power. So my question is, how about all the independent news sources that are remaining 20% in Australia? Do they get cut out by Google? I don't know the answer to this. I'm just asking. Anyway, they're continuing, which the media outlet that owns the Wall Street Journal and Washington Post. So again, this is what we've seen before. We've talked about this with the apocalypse that happened. It's the war between old and new media. And I'm not really sure that small media is even invited to fight or participate. But again, you guys can let me know in the comments. Facebook's overreach earlier Thursday that restricted Australians' access to non-news pages was a bad public relations move, said Tom Lever, the professor at Curtin University School of Media, Creative Arts, and Social Inquiry. Quote, I think Facebook has lost the PR battle by enforcing a ban that's simply too wide. She told CNBC's Street Signs at Asia on Thursday, if Facebook was hoping that this would remind Australians of how important Facebook is, I think they're really going to remind that Facebook does things without considering the consequences on its users. So that's the story. That's the update. Facebook made this move, and they shadow banned, let's say, and they did what, I feel like we've been covering stuff recently. It's like, oh wow, the people in power that are not used to this are dealing with what regular news organizations like us deal with all the time, and they're freaking out. I don't see them going, hey, stop it with us and these other people. It still seems very self-centered is my take on this, even though I know that there's some people that are making the point. It's like, look, there should be better revenue sharing. And I'm still going to say, well, once everyone gets revenue sharing, I'll agree. But I don't get the sense that that's the case from this. So, yeah, we're in a spot where Facebook has decided to pull all news because ostensibly it costs them money to do otherwise. We'll see if a deal gets made. We'll see if this affects anything. What do you think, Kit?
Well, once again, this is kind of reaffirming my belief that, sooner or later, I feel like we're going to have to delete Facebook. I don't trust it as a platform. I, for one, am disgusted by it. For some reason, I have no respect for it. It doesn't provide anything to real content creators, especially those who are starting off. We have worked firsthand when we were starting off as Hard Lens Media. A lot of our original content was put onto our Facebook page before we moved to YouTube.
Yeah.
And it just, I want Facebook to lose. I want it to lose based on a personal point of view, because whenever we uploaded original content, real content, then there's only one video that took off on Facebook.
And because we paid for it.
Yeah, and that was that documentary we did that we both paid for. But since then, like any other original content, from investigative journalism to interviewing people on the street, barely got any attention. But when we posted an article from corporate media or anything like that, it got all the attention in the world. So Facebook as a platform is antiquated in my point of view. I think it's since then has overreached its power, and it's abusing a lot of freedoms. And this is just not an American issue. This is a international issue at this point. And so the role of Facebook, I say, should be how the dinosaurs went out, extinct, gone forever. For me, it doesn't provide any kind of information if it's willing to censor and deplatform people. Never forget what happened in 2018 when progressive channels, independents, and libertarian pages were taken down on Facebook because of AJ. I can't say his name on YouTube because, again, the censorship is very real.
Or because they wanted Palestinians to have some rights.
Yeah.
See, this is
and the other thing, too, I want to add on, too, is don't forget in 2016 when there were those pro-Bernie Sanders Facebook pages, too, that were taken down. So I don't trust Zuckerberg and his team to do the right thing. I want Facebook to lose. And this is just a personal opinion for our dealings with Facebook. And this also impacts so many other content creators there, too.
This still goes to my thing, because it's like, I want something balanced on this. So, okay. So where do we say? So I didn't see Australia standing up for all these pages when they were taken down by Facebook. We've actually done coverage of Australia actually taking down Facebook pages. So I feel that they're being a bit hypocritical in saying, woe is me, why is this happening? I don't get this, what's going on? That's one part on this, I think, that's big. And then another part is Australia, just like the US and all these other places, you've let Facebook monopolize the market to the point that it's so detrimental when this happens. And when people have asked Australia, and we've covered things about this in the past, and Australia was like, no, this is free market. They got to be able to do whatever they want. This is their business, blah, blah, blah. But again, now that it's affecting a News Corp, which is a powerful organization that has many newspapers and thought lead in Australia, all of a sudden they care deeply about Facebook censorship. So I have a bitter taste in my mouth on this whole thing. Because they're doing, when it affects them, they care. When it affects other people, they don't only not care, they're on board with it. And then they also gave them the power that they have now that they're using anyway. So it's like, and I don't believe that what they're doing right now is going to change any of that. It's just more self-preservation. So I feel bad for the people that aren't getting access to the things that they need with like COVID rollouts and stuff, because Facebook cast a wide net against a bill that was written to cover a very wide net. So again, it's a bit of the bill. It's basically lobbyists from News Corp wrote this bill and then sent it in, and then it got passed or is about to get passed. So as much as I agree with Kit, I want Facebook to lose, I also don't want News Corp to win.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Thank you for bringing that up. Maybe I'm just biased on this. Yeah, because News Corp wins, okay, then we got a whole other thing to worry about. But on the other hand, too, it's just, I think with me, I hate Facebook
because
more. I mean, because with Rupert Murdoch and News Corp, they already are who they are. They already told us who they are.
Here's the precedent that I worry about.
Okay.
If this happens and succeeds, it's already written corporate friendly as is.
Right.
And we already know that CNN on YouTube, which is what we deal with, already sucks away all of the views that we should be getting.
Yeah.
And giving it to them. So I am terrified in terms of case precedent that other people will copy from what happens in Australia, or they'll try and replicate, which is if you're a giant news corporation like News Corp, you get prioritized viewership, suggestions, CPM,
Yeah.
and now on top of that, you get paid simply for existing. And I don't think that we're going to be able to join that. And so if that's the case, I actually would prefer Facebook not lose, because if all of a sudden all of old media basically controls the entire category of news and controls the funding of news, what are we doing?
Is there for the people in back who are crying? Is there an option C?
Well, the world sucks, so build a time machine, go back 15 years, and start dealing with your stuff then. Because this is sort of like, it's like I feel like we've been here like yelling like, "Hey, don't let Facebook get too much power," and people are like, really, governments are like, "Shut up!" And now that they have too much power, they're like, "Oh no, we can't disseminate news because we rely on Facebook too much."
Yeah.
Also, corporate lobbying. I don't want anyone to win. I would prefer that here's a good case scenario that we have no control over.
Volcano happening?
No, well, that's a separate
That'd be
topic.
great. All right,
It
awesome.
would be Facebook loses a huge amount of reputation, and then this bill falls apart at the same time. That's good case scenario. That's all we got. Or conversely, if they start going, okay, fine, everyone gets monetized and net neutrality.
Okay.
If you make the suggestions and everything flat, so it's not algorithmically boosting CNN, NBC, etc., and everyone gets the same platform of monetization,
Yeah.
I'm all for it. But I don't see that being the case now.
Okay, I can roll with that last one. That last option you had was probably the best case scenario, but sadly we won't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it does somehow happen, wow, what a happy miracle, but that's not going to happen.
Well, right now, it's because Facebook has less effect on Australian politics than News Corp does. So News Corp's going to win.
All right, brace yourself, everyone. It's going to get stupid.